It's Wild Talk, celebrating 20 years of Wild TV. And we're kicking things off with a special look back. Join me as I sit down with Ryan Kohler, president and owner of Wild TV, and he shares the origins of the network and how it's evolved into the powerhouse it is today.
And learned how to basically broadcast TV ourselves.
Then the rock star Kate Rundle sits down with three of Wild TV's epic superstars. And don't miss our grand finale. We're counting down the final top 10 moments of the last 2 decades.
Wild Talk is brought to you by Aventura, Timber Stove, Hornady, and Wild TV Plus.
We are back with more Wild Talk. I'm your host, Steve Hamilton.
We are back at it for another social segment on Wild Talk.
Welcome back, everyone. We're kicking off this special episode of Wild Talk with something a little bit different. We're diving into part 2 of our series where we're celebrating 20 years of unforgettable moments on Wild TV. So let's start with rolling through 5 more of our top 20 best moments. Get ready to relive the highlights that made these years so incredible. Let's check them out.
On this week's episode, I'm going to be hunting a giant whitetail buck that we call Lucky. Over the past 2 seasons of pursuing this deer, we have had many close encounters, including him walking by at 22 yards, and unfortunately, we were unable to get a shot. But going into this year, we are hoping we can locate Lucky and use everything we have learned about this deer and put a killing sticks right in the vitals.
Going down. Gotta go, buddy. Gotta go, mate. Gotta go, mate. He's down, mate. He's huge.
Dad, I love you so much.
I love you too, buddy.
Put her here, Dad. We needed that so bad.
I know.
Oh my God.
Look at how wide that deer is.
Gorgeous.
The 5x4.
What a beautiful deer. Look at the wide he is. He's the biggest body deer I think we've ever killed. He's got to be 300 pounds plus. This deer came up over the hill with his big white patch and his head just looked so beautiful. Came into the grain, and he was feeding, and he was sparring with that other little buck, and for some reason, and he has the whole grain field to go feed. He comes right towards us, and I think he was going to end up walking down our bush line, and he came in range 20 yards. I shot him, double lunged, and he didn't go probably 50 yards. This made my season, and I'm beyond happy, and I'm so glad that I got to bring you guys along with me with seeing all these deer and this year's adventures.
So as he kind of moves in, I had some Big and J down, and he was working his way in. He was kind of posturing, and I wasn't going to give him a bunch of time. As he moved in, he'd smelt where that wolf was, and he kind of started back up, but it was too late. The Excalibur was on its way, and you know, the shot was absolutely perfect. This buck showed up on my trail camera 3 days ago, and I knew I had to get in here. But look at the beams on that thing. Super heavy, not very wide, but a couple drop beams or drop tines, extra tine here. I shot him at about 18, 19 yards, and arrow blew through him, stuck in the tree. An old log there, and he made her about 25 yards, 30 yards max.
This is my first wolf ever, and one of my favorite kill shots ever, that's for sure. He just dropped, so we're gonna pack him up quick and keep on moose hunting. We got about an hour light left, so beautiful, beautiful animal. Look at the teeth. Those teeth will no longer rip apart any moose.
Just a pile of bulls. This is the closest we've gotten to this big of a group, so we're hoping that we can just kind of sneak our way through these trees. They get up and walk our way is kind of what we're hoping for. Here comes my shot.
Wow. It's got 36 cannibal points. I'm so lucky to be able to take a beautiful animal like this.
I drew straight back and then tilted at the waist. When my pin hit exactly where I wanted and my bubble settled, I touched it off. This is when the world found out I had a small.
After that, you couldn't get a cat hunt for a TV show ever again. That was the last cat hunt TV show anyone's ever filmed. Period. Like, I have friends that have that are outfitters, and they're like, no way, man. Like, Steve Eklund ruined it. Like, we're not doing it.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of The Edge. I'm your host, Steve Eklund, a very happy host with my first Alberta Lion.
All right, we're back with more Wild Talk. Deer season just wrapped up. It's pouring rain here in British Columbia as we record this. Just Mother Nature has been temperamental. Got a really special guest with us today, one that needs no introduction. We've got Ryan Kohler here today. Ryan, thanks for making some time for us today.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. It's good to be on the podcast.
You had a great deer season from what I was following on social media.
Yeah, I had an awesome season. The whitetails are always dear to my heart, so I spent a lot of time hunting them. We were in the Edmonton Bow Zone early, and I shot a beautiful whitetail in the Edmonton Bow Zone, and then went to Saskatchewan with Weber Outfitting and shot an amazing deer there. So I guess I'm really lucky. I get to spend a month away from the business side of Wild TV and just hunt whitetails and just put my heart and soul into it. So it's kind of a break for me. I get to get out, get away from the office, sit in the stand, chase whitetails, scout, put up cameras, just do everything that you'd want to do. And maybe even a month and a half, I kind of take a little bit of time to do that. And it's my break. But I really take it super seriously, and I'm a complete psycho for it. And I do probably way more than most should. And really, I'm like a ruddy buck. Like, I just don't stop until the 30th. And even on the 30th, I was trying to shoot a big mule deer, and that didn't happen. But I was then going to go to Strathcona County, which gives you an extra 6 days. I couldn't do that. My kids are pretty deep into playing hockey, so I had to go back to real dad life.
Good times, eh? I can feel that, my friend. Let's talk about, we're celebrating 20 years of Wild TV. So I want to talk about that, and I'm sure that there's a lot of our viewers and our guests want to know the history. Did you ever feel it would be this big?
I think that Wild TV was at its peak, 5-6 years ago. I think we're growing now into a new era with new technology, new digital technology, social media, apps, streaming channels, fast channels. There's a lot to it, right? So I think that if I went back in time, what I know now, and brought that back in time, I could have made it a lot bigger, I guess, if that would be the answer. I know a lot more about media now and about TV and how to run it and how to work with the manufacturers and just do a lot more with content. So if I went back in time, I think I could have made it twice as big. So I don't know if I'm ever happy with it at the end of the day. And I hope that answers your question. I don't think
it does.
It could always be bigger.
It does. And that's where I kind of want to go with this in a little bit. But what was the catalyst that said, you know what? I want to do this. I want to create a network to showcase hunting, fishing, outdoor lifestyle.
Well, when I must have been 23 or 4, I had a fly fishing and bow hunting show on the Outdoor Channel in the U.S. So I was the youngest guy in the U.S. to have a fly fishing and bow hunting channel. that's where it all started. It started with me having that fly fishing and bow hunting show, and then watching the way the Outdoor Channel, the way they modeled the business model, and then really kind of bringing that along. So obviously it wasn't just me that did this. It was a group of really great people. My dad helped a lot. He got the license through CRTC for the Hunting and Fishing Channel and the Armed Forces Channel and the Fast Channel, I think it was. It's like a speed racing channel. And then a cult movie network, which we just sold a little while ago. And then my brother worked on the back end, and we worked him like a vampire into the middle of the night and learned how to basically broadcast TV ourselves, which was tough. And those were the first days of Wild TV was sort of that. And then the next 2, 3, 4 years after that, things kind of got a little crazy, hiring more amazing people, and then going to like things like SHOT Show for the first time, and really getting a kickoff was quite interesting. And then launching the channel for the first time in Saskatchewan was pretty wild too. So we did a whole bunch of stuff, hence the name Wild. We did a lot of wild stuff that we probably shouldn't have been able to do. A lot of people said we couldn't do it. And I think that was the driving force for me. I love it when someone tells me I can't do something, and I love it when it's time to compete.
Right. So how did it feel when you hit that button on the TV and you saw your own network out there? That must have been.
Yeah, that was something. We were in Saskatchewan, and Scott Sterling was with us, and he was trying to run a computer that he didn't know how to run in the head end of Access Communications in Saskatchewan. And we just plugged the computer in, and we just plugged it into their head end and said it would work. But of course, we had no idea if it was going to work, and it did work. So we got lucky. I watched them sweat for about 5 minutes, and we went down there in a camper, I think, and just plugged it in, and it worked, and it was kind of a bit of a little miracle. So yeah, it did work. But we had a lot of people that were working on the project that were super passionate about hunting and fishing. That drove the business side of it, because every time we picked up the phone to talk to somebody about it, it was exciting, right? Like if I got to talk to the Realtree guys, I was like, I'm talking to the Realtree guys, or I'm talking to Primos, or I'm talking to Bushnell, or any manufacturer, Hornady. These guys those companies and those people were huge to me, and so I'd get a little bit starstruck even just on the phone, speaking to those manufacturers and telling our story that we wanted to have a channel and do everything. So it was cool. It was fun. It seems like a long time ago now, and things have definitely developed and grown. But at the beginning, the first time I went to SHOT Show, I slept in the basement of the Flamingo Hotel because we couldn't afford a room.
Unreal. There was roadblocks, obviously. What kind of roadblocks did you face other than the nerves of hitting that button for the first time? Anything that jumps out to you?
Well, I think the roadblock at the very beginning was that nobody thought we could put hunting on TV. You talk to companies like Shaw, Rogers, TELUS, Bell, ExpressView, and these companies really didn't think that, nobody wanted to put hunting on TV. They didn't want to have an animal killed on TV. So that was new. And then, of course, I'm a young guy running around in my 20s telling people I'm going to launch a broadcast TV station. And, no, people thought I was crazy. They didn't think I could do it. They didn't think the name was good. Nobody liked the name at the beginning, which was really funny because I thought it was a perfect name.
Yeah.
And there was always roadblocks, right? You had to chip away. You had to work really hard to get it done. We sold commercials for $1 at the beginning, and just to get people's attention. And we had to learn the software in the back end to build servers and send servers into head ends to launch signals. And we really did television like mavericks, basically. Like everything we didn't do it the traditional way. We did it our own way, and we did it sort of hacked together with pieces and just pushed our way through. So it was there was many challenges along the way, and because we were all passionate about the industry and passionate about hunting and fishing and just passionate about trying to do that job, it was kind of easy, right? Like I could work 16-hour days and it didn't feel like work because it was a passion that I loved. So that was really the driver. And of course, if you work 10 months out of the year on broadcasting and then give yourself 2 months to go fishing and hunting and fishing, well, you work pretty hard for those 10 months to get those 2 months to just have fun.
Exactly. So there's quite an evolution of the process, and every day is different. You're always growing and you're always learning. And that's kind of like the content. Even in the years I've been watching and following Wild TV, there's been a heck of an evolution of content So can you talk a little bit about how that has worked with Wild?
Yeah, sure. The content's always changing. I think it's changing even now as we speak. You know, at the very beginning, you would have shows that would hit the same beat every show, right? You have someone goes somewhere, goes after a certain animal, shoots the animal, holds the animal up. That's kind of how it was in the very, very beginning. And now you've got content where it's, you know, beautiful drone shots, and you got beautiful camera work, and you got great storylines, and you've got really unbelievable shows that are popping up all over the place. And I think even now, with podcasts, you're going to see that the shows that I've just talked about at the beginning that were hitting the same beats, like those shows are going to get taken up by podcasts where you have content inside the podcast. So like kind of what we're doing now, but if we were, say you and I went on an elk hunt and we were just talking back and forth like this about the hunt and teaching about the hunt and then showing that content. So I think it's going to evolve into something like that moving forward. Yeah, you just got to kind of be evolving with it, I guess.
That's one thing I've really noticed that Wild has done in the last couple of years anyway, is moving to the social media side of things, developing the app Wild TV Plus. I remember chatting with Scott not too long ago, and he's texting me, like him and I having a chat like this, and I'm watching something here and we're just going back and forth. I thought that was really cool. So talk a little bit about the role technology and social media have played in essentially shaping where Wild is going.
Well, I think social media is allowing everyone to do what we do. You know, 15 years ago, it was hard to get a camera and it was hard to film a hunt. It was hard to get the knowledge to know how to use the camera, to edit the content, to put it on the station. So now you have access to a way broader audience. So more people can do the hunting and fishing videos. And so that's why you're seeing it on social. And obviously the social platforms are super powered by giant companies. So they're driving a lot of that content, that short form content. And so what we do is we have a really great engine right now that we're constantly working on, which is Wild TV Plus. Mm-hmm. And that's got 20 years of content built into it. And we're going to be mining that content, getting the best stuff out, and then showing the audience something that they've never seen before, which is going to be curated content. So basically the best stuff, we're going to sponge it out and then continuously create content for the viewer that's, you know, unbelievably amazing. Like I said, with more technology, the new GoPros, the drones, there's so many things that are happening right now in the industry. If you put your finger on the pulse, if you're on the cutting edge of the floor of technology with production, then it's really amazing. So I can't say I know where all of that's headed with social media and all the rest of it. I know it's a super powered engine and we have to be part of it, and we will be. And our app is going to have added value in it with a whole bunch of great, cool things. Like we work on it, like I said, every day. We've got a big team now of people that are plugging away to make it amazing. So that's kind of what we're focused on right now. That and fast channels. We're going to be launching fast channels. We're going to be launching in the US. We're going to be launching all kinds of cool new streams. We have some neat new channels that are just nature channels. So we got tons of stuff going on. It's going to be an exciting 2025.
It sure is. The thing with social media for me and the podcast style and utilizing YouTube and all the social media is we're developing from what was essentially a Canadian channel to a worldwide channel where you can sit there and interact on some of the Facebook pages and Instagram pages that we follow, and you'll get comments from South Africa or Australia. And it's really neat to see just how small, for lack of a better term, that our community is becoming. Like a big channel like this is becoming small in the community and bridging gaps and getting out there in front of a bunch of people, which I absolutely love. So let's talk a little bit about the fun part. I know you're crazy busy, so we're limited on time, but how has this journey with Wild TV impacted your relationship with the outdoors?
Well, I think it was by design. So I just like to be outside. I like to be outside as much as I can, hunting and fishing. And so I really built Wild TV to make an excuse to get outside and go hunting and fishing. At the end of the day, that's what the business was built for. I chased what I loved, and I just never gave up chasing what I loved. And I think that's how it's really influenced me and my decision making on what I do. I still host a couple TV shows, Bozone Live, and and then How to Hunt, which is going to change format into a podcast hunting format with Zach and I. So it's going to be a really cool new show that we're developing, but it's always about trying to do as good as you can on the business side, and then come up with reasons where I can go hunting or fishing. Like we've got ice fishing season coming up here right away, and I'm now trying to figure out a way to get ice fishing more often, right? So yeah, it's by design. I think chase what you love, and then if you chase what you love hard enough, you can find a way to do what you love more often, and that's basically what I do every day.
And that's something we could all be so lucky, right? To what's that? You end up getting paid to do for how's that old phrase go where you do something that you love and it's not a job or something like that. You get paid to do it, type thing.
You can work harder at it, right? So I love hunting whitetails. I can hunt whitetails. I can chase whitetails, scout whitetails, and do that for 20 hours in a day and get 4 hours of sleep like a total psycho. But and same thing with wild TV too. You can work pretty hard at something that you're interested in. So that would be that's how it's really influenced me. Is I'm interested in it, interested in the TV side. TV's fun, social's fun, building videos. I still love the production side a lot. And then also just being in front of the camera and showcasing some of the stuff that I get to do, which is really special. And I'm so fortunate to be able to do it. So bringing the camera along to show the story is super fun. And hopefully I can do it for another 20 years, 30 years. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be fun to watch roll out and to be a big part of it. So Ryan, I know you're crazy busy, as we've said. So I just want to thank you for 20 years of Wild, and I look forward to being a part of it for as long as possible. A huge thanks to our viewers for making what we do a part of your life and possible to come into your homes.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. And obviously, my hat's off to all the viewers. Anyone that's ever watched Wild TV or watched anything we've created, it means a lot to me that people do that. And when you come up and say hello or say that you watch Wild or send a text through Instagram or any other format, then it's pretty amazing feeling to be able to get those messages. So I appreciate all of them.
It sure is.
Hello everyone, Kate Rundle here, very excited for another interview on this special edition of Wild Talk as we take a look at the 20 years with Wild TV. So very happy to have Richard Mellon from Trapping Inc. with us here today. Richard, how's it going?
Really good. I'm very happy to be here.
Awesome. So give me a rundown. How did you get involved with Wild TV?
Actually, my partner and I, at the time, TJ Schwanke, we were producing Outdoor Quest TV, and that's about 25 years ago we started. So we precede Wild TV by 4 or 5 years. And when Wild TV started in Canada, we were happy to be asked to come along. And I think we aired on the very first day of Wild TV.
So it's been a long journey. So what season are you guys in over there on Trapping Inc. now?
We started filming season 11 on the 1st.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome to hear. So it's been a long journey with Trapping Inc. How would you say it's impacted your relationship with the great outdoors and yourself?
I think the biggest enlightening for me is the fact that there's so much that's done like by muscle memory. I get asked questions about stuff that I don't even think about or don't even realize I'm doing. I get a real a charge out of how attentive viewers are and the questions they come up with.
Okay, what would you say about, so you kind of keep a lot of your trapping local, but are there any like bucket list locations that you'd like to go to one day?
I wanted really badly to get out on the ice for the seal harvest. I found it fascinating.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very, very necessary, but between trying to deal with the federal government and then deal with the actual Sealers Association was just beyond anything you could do. Like I guess I could almost see the Sealers Association because they've taken a serious hit too. Like, I mean, even though it hasn't been legal to kill a white seal since the 80s, that's the young one. That's what they're still worried about, because that's all that gets talked about every time that PETA brings up a program against the sealing, and that they show a white seal being killed. Well, that's not been legal for 50 years, and it's big. so I can understand them being a little bit reticent about it. However, pretty easy to look at YouTube or Wild TV, and you can see who I am and what I stand for. I really wanted to do that. I thought that would be a really cool situation, and it's a different culture,
right?
Very different culture, very different life. I understand. I think probably I sympathize with them a lot because growing up in northern Alberta, I mean, I never got to Edmonton until I was 18 years old. You know, and that's a long time ago.
Well, it's been a hot
So
minute.
I understand that living within tight within a community and a culture, and I wanted to share that.
Yeah, right. Yes. Well, thank you for being a wonderful voice for the whole trapping community. And thank you so much for appearing on this episode of Wild Talk. It's been great speaking with you, my dear. And cheers to your 11th season. Good on you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right, Mitchell Payment, thanks for joining us today here on Wild Talk for our special 20th anniversary episode for Wild TV. You are very well known on our channel, but why don't we bring our viewers up to speed? Who are you? Where are you from? How old are you? What do you got?
Thanks so much for having me. I'm honored to be here. And my name's Mitchell Payment. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, and I'm 26 years old. It's kind of a bit of a rundown there, but I've been hunting probably since I was 3 or 4. I could walk, going out with Dad, so it's been a long journey.
Absolutely. How would you say your love for hunting turned into a TV show?
You know what? I think it was just as a kid, I was so fascinated by these DVDs. I would get hunting DVDs as a kid for Christmas, my birthday, and I'd sit there and rewatch them over and over again. That was before social media, so I'd throw it in the DVD player and kept watching it, and it kind of just, that inspired me to want to create my own videos. So it started with a YouTube channel, then the natural progression was, just to work onto the television side of things, and Wild TV was always there from the beginning. They're one of the pioneers for hunting TV in Canada especially, so yeah, it's been awesome.
That's great. What would you say, what was that feeling that you got the first time you saw Moment of Truth TV on Wild TV?
It was pretty neat, it was something that I dreamed up of as a kid, so for it to kind of come to fruition was, it was a great feeling, but also nerve-wracking too, because it's honestly not that easy to produce enough episodes to create a season, so it's, it's such a cool experience to be able to go out there, capture your video on film, and share it with others, but as well as being able to relive those moments yourself. It's something I truly do love.
Yeah, that's awesome. You essentially did grow up on the channel. I can only imagine what it was like juggling a full-time TV show gig while going to school, eh?
Yeah. My dad and I started when I was actually in high school, but when we started Moment of Truth TV, it was the year I graduated, and we're like, you know what? You only live once, you may as well pursue your dream, and that's kind of what we did, and worked hard from there, and we're producing our 9th season this fall, so it's been an awesome ride.
We've talked about how you've been hunting since you were a kid. You got any tips or advice for other young hunters?
You know what? The one pops to mind right away, and it's because of this hunting season especially. It's just been a real tough season getting on animals, and the one thing that always pops into my mind is persistence is deadly. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. They're wild animals. You can't control those variables. The one thing you can control is your persistence in the field and just sticking with it. And eventually, you know what, it does work out.
Do you have any hunting superstitions or lucky items that you take with you on a hunt?
You know what, I am pretty superstitious, and I don't know why, but it's just, I have a few different hunting hats that I'll wear. And I'll be kind of swap, if things aren't working, I'll swap in between them. And then when one thing clicks and I harvest an animal, that cap's staying on. And for some reason, once we get the ball rolling, we usually get a harvest, our harvests come more consistently. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely, I have lucky hats for sure. And it's based on season to season. So that's kind of a weird superstition I have.
No, it's okay. I like it. All right, so would you say, you're from Edmonton? Do you do a lot of local hunts, or do you travel around too?
Yeah, more or less. I grew up hunting the Edmonton bow zone. I'm a real passionate archer, and then that leads into bow hunting. So just kind of grew up hunting the bow zone. So that's kind of my bread and butter. That's my passion, and I truly love it. But we do expand outside of it. But more or less, it's, we do all our hunting in Alberta. We're so fortunate here in our province to have such readily available species to hunt. You can basically almost hunt every big game species that are out there in Alberta. We're just so fortunate. So, we hunt all across the province, but, my home is Edmonton and the Edmonton Bow Zone. So that's kind of my passion.
Awesome. Well said. Well, I am actually coming at you from the Edmonton Bow Zone right now. So if you ever want to swing by for a smoked brisket, the door is always open.
Thank you. Appreciate the offer.
No problem. All right. Bucket list hunts. What do you got? What's on your bucket list?
Geez, since I was a kid, I always did want to shoot a caribou. That's pretty high up there, and I hope it happens one day. But you know what? I don't really have too many bucket list hunts. There's hunts that that feel that they're so far off, but maybe one day I'll get to, experience them. But maybe caribou, Alaskan or Yukon bull moose, and, I would like to hunt bull elk somewhere in the mountains, maybe Montana or something, but those are kind of the bucket list hunts. But as far as hunting goes, we're so fortunate here in Alberta that I've been able to, go out there and pursue the animals that I love to pursue.
Yep. Well said, friend. Any special shout outs? We know it takes a village sometimes to bring all of this stuff together. So any shout outs you want to give to anybody that helped you on your journey, either getting started or throughout the 8 seasons that you've done?
Yeah, there's a few people for sure. I mean, we learned a lot. We were pro staff for the Boneyard, so Calvin and Jason, we learned a lot navigating the industry through them. So a big shout out to them, and we were able to create our own show. And we kind of had a foot in the door, being able to, know the ins and outs a bit. So there's that, and then obviously the women in our life. My mom, always supporting us going out there, and we do spend almost every day out there. So there's that. My mom, Kaylin, just being able to hold down the fort while we're out there trying to get some animals on the ground. But other than that, Ryan at Wild TV, he's we've been with you guys for almost a decade now, so it's they've always had a great relationship there with him and Scott. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, sounds good. This was a nice short and sweet interview. Can't thank you enough for joining us today, and best of luck making it to a full decade with Moment of Truth TV. All right, everybody. Next on the docket for our interviews on this very special 20th anniversary episode, we have Greg Yaholnitsky joining us. Hey, Greg. How's it going?
Good. How's everybody doing?
Fan-freaking-tastic. Just enjoying a bit of the outdoors while I still can before the snow falls. So you are an extremely talented photographer, videographer. How long have you been working with Wild?
I've been working with Wild and specifically the Edge TV show for this year. It was my 4th year. So yeah, kind of eased my way into it year 1 and 2. I did some filming along with another videographer, and now for the last 2 years, I've been pretty much the only guy for the show.
You do an amazing job. Well done. And it's great to have you here to kind of talk about perspective from behind the lens. So let's get into some questions for you. What's harder, getting the perfect shot of a moving animal or staying still and quiet in the wild?
The hardest thing is timing your shot, because everybody wants the perfect kill shot. It's timing the kill shot with what the hunter is doing. So you're typically looking behind the camera into a small viewfinder or a monitor, and so keeping everything else in perspective while you're doing that sometimes can be difficult. So I'd have to say definitely, getting the kill shot is the hardest, and to have it in frame and focus and make sure it all goes down so the viewer can see what everything's going on. So yeah,
I can only imagine. A lot of pressure to get the shot, and you're kind of in that tunnel vision, but you seem to nail it out of the park every time. So very well done.
Try to. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so if you had said the answer was actually staying still and quiet in the wild, my next question was going to be, how long can you hold your breath?
I haven't timed myself for a while. I'm actually a pretty good swimmer, but I haven't had to jump in the water yet. I was on a fishing trip with Joe in the Haida Gwaii area, and I was considering maybe getting in the water, but then I heard that they occasionally catch sharks from time to time out there, so I decided against that. But yeah, I can hold my breath for a while.
All right, but it's the thought that counts. You were willing to get in there and probably be really cold for the remainder of the day, so love that attitude. All right, next question.
Yeah, but staying still is I'd have to say if you're not a hunter and you want to get in the videography game and the outdoor business, you need to learn to be quiet and be still. So yeah, it's very important.
Gotcha. A game of patience too, no doubt. All right, now we know that you get around. You've been to a lot of amazing locations for filming all of these hunts. How about a dream hunt location that you haven't filmed yet? Do you have anything on your bucket list?
Something maybe over in Europe, I think would be fun.
All right, now I think I've seen you do this before, but if you could switch places with a hunter for a day, how do you think you'd do in front of the camera?
I don't know. People have asked me that before, even like for this interview. The reason why I do what I do is because I like being behind the camera. I like, engaging people in conversation. But I think I would be all right. I would have to maybe take some tips and tricks from Steve, because he's like a natural when it comes to it. But I think I'd do all right.
A lot of us at Wild, we know what you do, but a lot of people just see your name in the credits. So now that people are seeing you and hearing you, would you have any tips for any young or just new videographers looking to get into the outdoor or hunting film industry?
Yeah, like have a good social media page. Get out there and get a camera rolling, regardless of what it is. Get content out there, edit, learn what works best for you, learn what equipment works best for you, but you don't need to break the bank off the start. And then just, reach out to people. I got a big break getting into this industry just because I happened to be a camera guy that couldn't make a hunt. And learn to say yes to everything, regardless of whether or not you can make a schedule work, a deadline work, your time work, anything, budget, to say yes. Learn to push through those tough days, because those gems in the rough, when you get those beauty days, make everything else worth it. So
hell yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this nice short and sweet interview. We appreciate you and can't wait to see all the additional footage you're going to push out for us over the years.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. See you guys later.
A huge thanks to each and every one of you who's been along with us for this ride for an incredible 20 years. So we're going to wrap it up with 5 more moments that'll leave you in awe. See you next time on Wild Talk.
These rams are getting a nice sleep right now. I'm waiting out a wind and rainstorm. Trying to stay in position on these rams. The one ram got up and chased the younger ram. So we stayed. And full curl, which means it's game on.
Fortunately for me, as I began feeling the wind start to shift, the ramp presented my opportunity.
And there he is. Look at that ram.
Oh my gosh, this is absolutely surreal. I am sitting on a ridge alone with a gorgeous ram. Here we are today, hiking back up to go retrieve the ram. Brian said he would bail on his hunt plans for today and help me pack this ram up.
What do you think?
Looking
Looking pretty good.
Hey, doesn't get better than that right here.
No better than this.
Boy, am I glad to see you guys. Holy smokes. What a pack up. That Brian there, he can friggin' hike. And it's 66. Brian, I hope I can hike like you by the time when I'm 46. Promise me a hug.
Oh, not yet, got big bugger.
We had got in our blind and settled for the evening. And shortly after, the buck that we had watched for years, and nicknamed Droppy, was about to make an appearance. God, Richard. I don't know what to say, Richard. That's a deer that we've, as a team, I mean, we put 3 years of our life into trying to get that deer. This is the biggest buck of my life. Biggest deer I'll ever hunt, I imagine. And it's 3 years, you know. We had a lot of chances at him 3 years ago. He had 2 drop tines on this side. And we decided to let him go and just see how he'd make out. And then last year we couldn't get on him for the life of us, you know. And this year he was just so much bigger on the trail camera, and I can't believe we're touching him, Richie. Like, I'm sorry, I just really don't know what to say.
It's got my single favorite thing that I always wanted in a whitetail. It's got a blowhole. Gunter calls those blowholes. Buck of a lifetime.
I'm here in Edmonton, Alberta, gonna go see Steve Eklund, and he's going on a great hunt. Let's go. I got something to tell you.
I'm all ears.
Hang on, because I told you I'd send you on a hunt, right?
I do really want to go north.
So how about muskox caribou?
You're kidding. Absolutely, are you serious? Nunavut right out of the gates.
Our new co-host, Steve Eklund, ambassador for Cabela's.
We're going to Nunavut. You think? Take this one? He looks...
Coming over.
It's okay. How do you like them apples, buddy? The most perfect situation that you can ask for a bow hunter on this muskox.
In the grill house here, we just watched an amazing show with probably the biggest muskox I've ever seen on video killed. I have no idea if it's the biggest, but it's got to be close.
It's getting officially scored here right now. It's definitely going to be top 4 in the world.
I think you're going to agree with me that is the best moose encounter I have ever seen in my life. 249 1/8 inch world record moose.
That concludes our 2-part series of the last 20 years of Wild TV. What an amazing ride it's been. I've only been here for a season, but looking back at the vast amount of footage we've had, there's been some amazing memories, some amazing hunts, some amazing guests that have made up the family of Wild TV. It was great to sit down with the owner, president of Wild TV, Ryan Kohler, the man himself, the visionary behind just what this network is today. We've got so much more in the future, and I look forward to seeing you for season 4 of Wild Talk. Let's get wild, and we'll see you next time.
Is he down?
Just fell.
Wow.